Mahindra and Mahindra, car makers? Nah, not really. They are SUV makers. They've got a whole family of them, a variety of them on sale in India, which include two sub 4 meter SUVs, the older Quanto, and more recently they introduced the KUV300. And to that mix, they're introducing this, the KUV100. Where does it fit into the Mahindra family? And where does it fit into the Indian automotive landscape? We've got lots of questions for the KUV100. Let's start getting some answers.
The KUV is clearly the urban SUV of Mahindra's sub 4 meter family. It looks like a suitably angry SUV from the front and a hatchback from the rear. And from the side, it's a bit comical. In typical Mahindra fashion, for better or for worse, there's a lot of extras in terms of design. There are massive slashes that run along the waistline. There are handles in the C-pillar for the rear doors. And the headlamps seem to have been stretched backwards. But I really did like the clear plastic layer that houses the engine badging, the 3D tail lamps, and I felt really bad that those gorgeous 14-inch turbine alloy wheels are only available on the top-end K8 variant. On the whole, the KUV does look a bit awkward, but it exudes an air of sportiness, not utility. So in spirit, the KUV is more closely related to the XUV and not the TUV.
And the KUV is also more closely related to the XUV in terms of what it's got going on underneath.
Well, underneath, the KUV has been built around a new monocoque platform. It's Mahindra's second after the XUV. The engine is also mounted transversely and drives the front wheels. So it's much like a hatchback in that sense, with comfort and ease of driving getting top priority over outright ruggedness. The KUV's 170mm of ground clearance is also very much in hatchback territory.
Now from the driver's seat, you do get the sense that the KUV is giving you a more commanding seating position. It's no SUV, but it is better than other hatchbacks in that sense. And that will give it an edge over its rivals.
Yes, who are the KUV's rivals? I can tell you that it is a size larger than the Quid. It's 3.7 meters long, 1.7 meters wide and 1.65 meters tall. So, in terms of size, the KUV100 is looking to take on everything from Maruti Suzuki's Celerio to Hyundai's Grand i10 and the soon-to-be launched Tata Zeekr. How does Mahindra expect to take on such competition? Well, for starters, they'll be offering more than you would expect in the first place. For a vehicle that looks so small, the space was commendable.
Now the front passenger seat, I've set it to accommodate a 6-footer, and despite that, look at the amount of knee room on offer here. It's really impressive. You've also got great headroom. Width is also nice. We tried this with 3 guys in the back, 2 hefties like me and 1 thin guy, and we managed to fit in reasonably comfortably. The middle passenger is also comfortable because the seat is flat and the floor is flat. But if you don't have a middle passenger, what you end up with is an armrest. So it's really nice that way. But where this back seat really does get thrown for a loop is this little blacked out section here. That's just to accommodate that vertical handle, and it just takes away the sense of airiness in the back seat. Otherwise, this would have been really nice.
Cleverly, the KUV also offers plenty of storage spaces in the cabin.
Yes, there are plenty of storage spaces and some more. So if there are any police people watching, please notice carefully. Hidden storage space number 1. Hidden storage space number 2.
And well, let's not forget that there is a reasonable 243-litre boot to stuff a few small bags into. And before you ask, there is no scope for any third row of seats here.
Now the KUV can be had as a 6-seater as well, with this optional bench arrangement for the front row. This is standard on the base variant. On the other 3 variants, it is an option that you can pick. Now, should you pick it as an option? Well, For a passenger space, it's going to be a little bit tough because getting your legs through here is going to be a bit tight. And that aside, Mahindra is offering dual airbags as an option on all the variants, but the passenger airbag isn't going to extend till here. So you don't have the safety of that at the back of your head. So in case of an accident, you're going to get a face full of center console. But I still think you should opt for it for one simple reason. It makes for an excellent armrest.
In case you missed that, yes, Mahindra is offering dual airbags as an option on every variant and is standard on the top-end K8 variant. And well, ABS and EBD is standard across all variants. That is fantastic focus on safety from this Indian manufacturer. Also, as can be expected, air conditioning and power steering are also standard. In higher trims, the KUV comes with driver's seat height adjust, a music system with 4 speakers and 2 tweeters, and steering mounted audio controls. But to most people, the simple monochrome display might seem a bit disappointing in today's world of large, touchscreen color units.
So we've got both engines, petrol and diesel, from Mahindra's new M Falcon range of engines here in the KUV to test out on Mahindra's test track here in Chakan. Let's find out what they're like.
Be it the petrol or the diesel, they are 3-cylinder 1.2-litre engines. And very quickly, some things felt very likable on both the motors.
Straight away, something that really works for me is the position of the gear lever. It just falls to hands so nicely, and the gear shift action, it's lovely. What's impressive on both the petrol and diesel again is the refinement. These 3-cylinder engines don't feel thrummy except at really odd occasions. On the whole, they feel refined, smooth, and that's really very nice.
The petrol, called the G80, uses an aluminium block and plastic inlet tracks to keep weight low and a dual variable valve timing setup for a broad range of torque.
Now with all that tech, the petrol motor surprises where? When you want to drive sedately. Just amble around and it feels so comfy. You can sit in higher gears at lower speeds, at lower RPMs, and it just ambles along. But on the flip side, when you really want to get a move on, up the pace, you end up working it hard, and then it doesn't feel all that satisfying. And at about 120 kph, it does feel a bit stressed.
And when you compare it to Honda's 1.2-litre iVTEC engine, this G80 motor seems positively dull. However, the petrol returns a company-claimed 18.15 kilometers per litre with micro-hybrid technology. The diesel engine is also trying to be frugal and saves on weight with some plastic parts and an aluminium head, but it sticks with a proper iron block. Its 19.4 kilograms of torque is offered in a hassle-free manner that makes it very likable.
The diesel doesn't have that spiky power delivery. It's quite linear. It feels very easy to use, and along with that, it also feels like the better engine because it manages to cruise at higher speeds in a more relaxed fashion.
Of course, fuel efficiency is as important as drivability, and with that in mind,
the petrol and the diesel are offered with micro-hybrid tech, which means stop-start functionality for city usage, which improves fuel efficiency. But it's only the diesel that gets power modes. There's normal mode, which is power mode, and then there's the eco mode. When you press it, what it does is it reduces the fuel that's being delivered to the engine, dulls throttle response, but it boosts fuel efficiency.
the diesel also uses a dual mass flywheel, which helps use the engine smoothly and low RPMs. And all of this helps in the diesel delivering a company-claimed 25.3 kilometers per litre. On the suspension front, the KUV100 uses a traditional setup. There's McPherson struts at the front and a non-independent twist beam at the rear.
Now, in terms of suspension setup, Mahindras tend to be on the softer side, and that's the case here in the KUV as well. It feels softly sprung, especially at the rear. So you feel that floaty sensation, and when you're in corners like this, you can feel it roll.
So it isn't the most fun compact SUV to drive, but with a more direct and consistent steering and predictable body manners, it feels far more reassuring than Mahindra's before it.
Now, there are a couple of things on the KUV that take some time to get used to. One is the seating position itself. You kind of get the sense that you're sitting a little off center, just very slightly. So it takes some time, then you get used to it. And the other is the view out. The dash kind of bulges in the center, so it juts out a bit, and the windscreen itself does feel a bit small. So for shorter drivers or for new drivers, it can be a little uncomfortable at the start.
So the KUV may be touted as an SUV, but the way it drives, steers, the safety equipment, or the in-cabin experience it offers could just nudge Mahindra from being a SUV maker to a car maker. The one glaring shortcoming is the lack of performance from the unexciting petrol motor. And yes, the KUV has a few minor niggles, like the quality of plastics in some areas and the overdone styling. But with pricing expected in the region of 4 to 6 lakh rupees, the KUV might just be the cat amongst the pigeons that hatchbacks had better watch out for.